good, fam? It's Mr. Kelly with Good of the Hood, talking about anything and everything that impacts the culture. And today we're going to talk about Jada Pinkett Smith. And we actually haven't heard a lot from her since this whole debacle started. I mean, she said a couple little things on her Instagram and that kind of thing. But just the other day, she addressed it a little bit more directly. But I think she's exploiting the situation, which a lot of you kind of said that in some of the comments on some of my other postings kind of mentioned that. And it looks like it's going in that direction. So for those of you that don't know, she does have a show called Red Table Talk that she has on YouTube and that kind of thing. And that show is always about supposedly like healing and controversial issues and growth and all of that, which is crazy because that's when she first brought out the entanglement, right? It was on her show. And it just didn't seem like there was a lot of healing going on, but she's always making that statement. She says, you know, just recently she says, the Smith family is still going through healing and I'm here for it. I mean, y'all been healing for like 2 decades. Like, where's the growth at? Like, why are people still in your family so traumatically traumatized to where it's out here in the public view? And don't get me wrong, look, I get it. Everybody's got their issues. You know, we all got trauma that we got to deal with. I guess what makes it a bigger deal is instead of her taking all of her issues to the public light, and I guess Will's guilty of this too, like just talk about these things behind closed doors. Like you got to do it on the Red Table Talk. You know what I mean? So anyway, season 5 recently just started for the Red Table Talk. And I honestly didn't even know it was around for 5 seasons. I didn't even know it had seasons like a real show, to be honest with you. I thought it was just like this, right? Like my Good to the Hood episodes where it's just like, you know, hey, you film and talk your little 2 cents about whatever when you feel like it or when you have the time or when something interesting comes up. So, hey, kudos for her for actually having an actual show with actual seasons and all that good stuff. So she addressed that they're going to talk about the issue, didn't go into a whole lot of details. The first episode aired, I think, a couple of days ago, and it was filmed before the slap heard around the world, right? So obviously during that episode, nothing was talked about because the incident hadn't occurred. And so some of you are saying that you haven't heard her voice. Well, when this comes, you're going to hear her voice for sure. She's going to speak her 2 cents. She's going to talk about the whole ordeal and whatnot. But again, as mentioned before, the whole thing had nothing to do with Jada being protected. I'm going to be very interested to see what she says. I don't disagree with the sentiment that women as a whole are protected, and more specifically, women of color are not protected as they should be in a lot of things in our society. And that's not just physical, that's like, you know, the job place, in schools, society as a whole, that whole ordeal. This was not that. I still stand by my the way I feel about that. This was not that. This was all about Will's ego, and this was all about him getting into his feelings because he has to live in the shadows of Tupac, and he mentions that in his book. You know, I've been kind of digging a little bit deeper into his book and reading some more, and in the book he says that he was jealous of Tupac, or is jealous of Tupac, because how Tupac just basically lived his life, said what he needed to say, protected his people, stood on social issues, and so on and so on and so forth, right? And this goes back to Will's trauma of how he didn't protect his mom and blah, 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 blah. So that whole night of the slapping was really about Will's ego, right? And that's just what it is. So I think after all of this is done and said, I think that the Smiths, I think there's a divorce looming. I mean, honestly, I just think that this is a pressure cooker that is about to blow. There's some reports out there that Will has entered into rehab. I'm not exactly sure what the rehab is for. I don't think there's any type of drug or alcohol abuse. He mentioned kind of a little bit that there was definitely this sexual conquest, so I guess a sex addiction he had, but I don't know if that's the rehab. I just think the word rehab is specifically being used. I don't know that I haven't read anything that really leads me to believe that that's really what the situation is. Now, if he's going for therapy, that's different. If he's going in for anger management, that's different. But to use the word rehab, I don't know that that's accurate, right? And I'd be interested to know, is Jada going to be entering into any type of program, or is her rehab or counseling or therapy, is that what the red table talk is? Is that what it is for her? I don't know. I'm interested to see. But like I said, long story short, eventually it's absolutely going to be on the red table talk. She has issued a couple statements that they're going to be talking about it, and the Smiths, for the most part, have really kind of been hush-hush on the whole situation. It'll also be interesting to see what Jada has to say about the lawsuit, because that's going to be coming up. So, look, without further ado, Jada is finally breaking out and speaking. She's going to show it on the Red Table Talk. That's going to be coming soon. I'm sure she's going to drop a couple things here on Facebook and Instagram like she's done in the past. But tell me what you think. Is this just her exploiting the situation? Is there really going to be some healing coming from this? Should they just put this all behind themselves, fight out what they got to fight out in court, and just let it be what it is? Do you think they're going to stay married? I'd be interested to hear all of your opinions on all of this. But until next time, this is Mr. Kelly with Good to the Hood. Peace.